Welcome to Magnetic Presence, Unlocking the Secrets to Unstoppable Charisma, an empowering audiobook brought to you by Mindful Literary. This transformative guide is designed to help you tap into the magnetic power of charisma and use it to elevate every area of your life. Whether you're seeking to inspire, lead, or connect more deeply with others, charisma is the secret ingredient that makes all the difference, and you have the potential to master it. In this audiobook, we'll explore the science, psychology, and subtle art of charisma, uncovering what truly makes someone unforgettable. From refining your body language and tone to building authentic confidence, each chapter will provide you with practical tools to develop a magnetic presence. With insights from charismatic leaders and simple daily exercises, you'll learn how to effortlessly captivate any room and leave a lasting impression wherever you go. Let's embark on this journey together to unlock your full charismatic potential. Chapter 1: The Charisma Factor. What makes someone magnetic? Understanding charisma, definition, and misconceptions. Charisma often gets thrown around as a catch-all term for someone who lights up a room or captivates a crowd, but the reality is much more complex. At first glance, it might seem synonymous with being flamboyant or the life of the party, those folks who draw attention to themselves through loud laughter or extravagant gestures. However, charisma is less about theatrics and more about a unique energy that fosters connection and trust. Real charisma involves a deep sense of authenticity, empathy, and the ability to engage others, making them feel valued and understood. This ability to connect often transcends the superficial traits we commonly associate with charisma. Reflecting on my own journey, my understanding of charisma has truly evolved over time. In my early years, I mistakenly equated it with being outgoing and entertaining. I recall moments during high school when I would observe peers with vibrant personalities effortlessly drawing people toward them. They seemed to have an innate ability to command attention without much effort, leaving me feeling somewhat inadequate. However, as I navigated through various environments, classrooms, workplaces, and social gatherings, I began to notice the subtler aspects of charismatic individuals. I remember a professor whose quiet demeanor held such presence. He never raised his voice, but when he spoke, it felt like we were sharing a secret. His genuine interest in our thoughts and feelings dismantled my previous assumptions about charisma, revealing it to be more of an internal quality that shines through authenticity rather than mere flamboyance. Through these experiences, I've learned the importance of cultivating my own charisma by focusing on listening actively and showing authentic interest in others. It's not about putting on a show. Rather, it's about being the calm in the storm, remaining present and engaged. I encourage you to practice these qualities in your daily interactions. When you genuinely connect with others, you'll find your version of charisma begins to emerge, creating deeper bonds and impactful conversations. The science behind charisma, psychological and biological insights. Charisma often feels like a mystical quality reserved for a select few individuals. However, psychological theories unpack this phenomenon, revealing that charisma is not solely an inherent trait, but rather a combination of behaviors, perceptions, and social skills. Research shows that charismatic people possess a unique blend of confidence, communication skills, and authenticity that draws others in. They listen attentively, make eye contact, and express genuine emotions, creating a sense of trust and relatability. In my experiences, I've noticed that when I engage fully with others, genuinely interested in their stories, a certain spark ignites in the room, a clear testament to the magnetic pull of charisma in action. Through this lens, we can observe that charisma is less about loudness or visibility and more about the depth of connection we forge with those around us. On the biological side, our brains play a key role in how we perceive and respond to charisma. When interacting with someone we find charismatic, our brain chemistry shifts. Dopamine and oxytocin flood our systems, enhancing feelings of pleasure and trust. This neurochemical reaction can help explain why we feel energized or inspired in the presence of certain individuals. I recall meeting a charismatic speaker once. His words resonated not just intellectually, but emotionally, and I felt a rush of excitement coursing through me. Understanding this biological response can empower us as we learn that not only do we respond positively to charisma, but we too can cultivate it within ourselves through mindful practices. To nurture our own charisma, we can focus on developing our emotional intelligence, practicing active listening, and conveying warmth in our interactions. Simple yet effective, these strategies help build stronger connections with others. Remember, charisma isn't just about being extroverted or assertive, it's about embracing authenticity and fostering genuine engagement with those around us. As I've found, even small adjustments in how we communicate can lead to meaningful shifts in how we are perceived, enriching our interactions and expanding our influence. The role of authenticity in charismatic presence. Authenticity serves as the bedrock of charisma, and this is no mere conjecture. When I think about meaningful connections, I realize that people are inherently drawn to those who embrace their true selves. In a world often cluttered with facades and rehearsed interactions, authenticity shines like a beacon. It infuses conversations with a depth that scripted or forced exchanges simply cannot offer. People can feel when someone is genuine, and this feeling fosters trust. It's this trust that builds bridges, allowing for more profound and impactful connections. When I am authentic, I invite others to be the same, creating a space where dialogue flourishes and real relationships form. Reflecting on my own life, I remember a time early in my career when I was petrified of being judged. I tried to mirror what I thought others expected me to be, thinking that would earn me respect or admiration. However, in one particularly pivotal meeting, I decided to speak from the heart. Instead of using industry jargon or boasting about achievements like everyone else, I shared my personal journey, complete with its bumps and setbacks. The atmosphere shifted instantly. What had previously felt sterile transformed into something vibrant. Colleagues began sharing their stories, and by relinquishing my mask, I connected on a profound level with others. That day, I learned the invaluable lesson that in being genuine, we not only honor ourselves, but also inspire others to do the same. The ripple effect of authenticity was tangible, and it sparked meaningful exchanges that I still cherish. Through these experiences, I've come to view authenticity not merely as a personality trait, but as a powerful tool for connection. Each time I advocate for being real, whether in casual chats or formal settings, I see how it transforms interactions. People respond positively when they sense sincerity. So, a practical takeaway from my journey is simply this: embrace vulnerability. Share your raw truths, however daunting they may seem. This approach often not only elicits a more profound response from others, but also uplifts your charismatic presence in ways you can't quite anticipate. The next time you're in a conversation, remember that being yourself is the surest way to connect with others deeply. Chapter 2: The Foundations of Charisma, Building Blocks You Need. Confidence versus Overconfidence, Finding the Balance. Confidence is a powerful asset that can propel us toward our goals, while overconfidence can lead us down a perilous path of misjudgments and setbacks. Healthy confidence is characterized by a realistic understanding of one's abilities. It's about having faith in oneself, while also recognizing the limits of that ability. Cultivating this kind of confidence involves a few key practices. For starters, setting achievable goals can help build a solid foundation of self-belief. When you reach smaller milestones, you foster a sense of accomplishment that fuels your confidence. Seeking feedback from trusted peers or mentors is equally important. It provides a reality check and constructive criticism that helps refine your self-perception. Also, embracing failure as part of the journey is essential. Understanding that setbacks are opportunities to learn enables us to approach challenges with a balanced mindset, making us resilient rather than overzealous in our pursuits. I remember a time when my confidence was my greatest ally. I was preparing for an important presentation at work. After weeks of preparation and practice, I felt ready. As I stood in front of my colleagues, I spoke clearly and passionately about the project we had worked on. The room responded with nods and smiles, and by the end, I received applause and accolades. That experience reaffirmed my belief in the power of practice and preparation. However, my journey hasn't always been smooth sailing. There was a time when my overconfidence led me astray. I had been promoted to lead a team on a significant project, and buoyed by my previous success, I underestimated the complexity of the task ahead. I dove in headfirst without consulting my team or outlining a comprehensive plan. As a result, we faced numerous obstacles that could have been easily avoided with a bit more preparation and collaboration. This experience taught me that while confidence is vital, it's crucial to temper it with humility and a willingness to engage with those around us. Balancing confidence and overconfidence is a continual process of self-reflection and adjustment. It involves regularly assessing your abilities and understanding the external factors in play. One practical way to maintain this balance is to journal your experiences. Documenting moments of success and failure can provide insights into when you feel most confident and when you may be leaning toward overestimating your capabilities. This practice not only keeps you grounded, but also helps you recognize patterns in your decision making. Building confidence comes from experience, and so does learning to stay humble. Remember, confidence can open doors, but it's our ability to remain open-minded and receptive to feedback that ensures we walk through them wisely. The importance of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, often referred to as EQ, is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions while also being attuned to the emotions of others. This skill is particularly crucial for building relationships and exhibiting charismatic behavior. I remember the first time I encountered the term. It was during a workshop on effective leadership, and the facilitator emphasized how understanding emotions can completely change the way we interact. At that moment, I grasped that emotional intelligence goes beyond mere understanding. It involves actively engaging with those emotions, both our own and those of the people around us. When we develop our EQ, we gain the ability to connect more deeply with others, create trust, and foster an environment where open communication thrives. This not only enhances our relationships, but also projects a charismatic aura that can inspire and motivate those we encounter. My journey with emotional intelligence has been eye-opening, revealing its power in personal interactions. I recall an instance with a close friend who was going through a tough time. Instead of offering generic advice, I focused on listening and validating her feelings. I noticed that as I articulated my understanding of her emotions, our bond deepened. It was more than just sympathy. It was about truly feeling with her. This experience taught me how powerful empathy can be in transforming interactions. Whether it was in a casual conversation or a professional setting, I began to see how my ability to relate to others' emotional states made a significant difference. With colleagues, fostering an emotionally intelligent environment meant recognizing when someone was stressed or overwhelmed and addressing it with compassion rather than indifference. Through these encounters, I discovered that emotional intelligence isn't just a skill to be learned. It's a way of being that enriches both my life and the lives of those around me. Understanding and cultivating emotional intelligence is not just about what we can gain. It also opens the door to being a better friend, colleague, and leader. The next time you find yourself in a challenging interaction, try to pause and consider the emotions at play, both yours and those of the other person. Noticing these emotions can change the entire trajectory of the conversation, allowing for greater connection and understanding. Cultivating a positive mindset. Practicing daily affirmations is one of the simplest yet most powerful strategies I discovered for fostering a positive mindset. Each morning, I take a moment to stand in front of the mirror and recite affirmations that resonate deeply with me. Phrases like "I am capable," "I attract good things," and "I am worthy of love and happiness" help set the tone for my day. There's something transformative about hearing those words spoken aloud, especially when faced with the inevitable challenges that arise. Over time, these affirmations have shaped my narrative and boosted my self-confidence, creating a sturdy foundation for my charisma. It's like watering a plant. The more you nurture it, the more it grows. While some might dismiss this as mere positive thinking, research shows that affirmations have a measurable impact on our neural pathways, encouraging a mindset geared toward success. Throughout my journey, I've encountered my fair share of challenges that tested my resolve to maintain a positive outlook. I vividly remember a particularly stressful period at work when deadlines loomed and problems seemed to multiply daily. Instead of succumbing to negativity, I leaned on the positivity I had been cultivating through my affirmations and other practices, like mindfulness and gratitude journaling. On tough days, I'd jot down 3 things I was grateful for, shifting my focus away from stressors and toward abundance. This small act had a significant impact, allowing me to stay centered and engaged. I noticed that when I maintained my positivity, my interactions became more lively and others were drawn to my energy. My charisma flourished, revealing how resilience and optimism can enhance one's presence and influence in any environment. This journey isn't solely about personal experience. It's relatable and applicable to everyone. If you find yourself in challenging situations, remember that nurturing a positive mindset can be a game changer. Try starting your day with affirmations, take time to reflect on gratitude, and focus on what energizes you rather than what drains you. By making these conscious efforts, you'll not only uplift yourself, but also radiate a charisma that can profoundly influence those around you. A practical tip to get started today: write down your top 3 affirmations and say them aloud each morning. Watch how this simple practice can shift your mindset and open doors you never thought possible. Chapter 3: Nonverbal Communication, Your Silent Ambassador. Body language, the art of unspoken messages. Body language is an essential part of communication that goes beyond words. It encompasses a range of nonverbal cues, including gestures, posture, facial expressions, and eye contact. These signals can significantly shape how we perceive charisma in ourselves and others. When I first learned about body language, it was like discovering a hidden language that everyone speaks but often overlooks. A confident posture or a warm smile can light up a room and attract people. In contrast, crossed arms or a lack of eye contact can create barriers, making someone appear closed off or insecure. Understanding these subtle cues has empowered me to enhance my presence and influence when interacting with others, whether in a casual meetup or a formal presentation. Reflecting on my experiences, I recall a networking event where I was nervous about meeting new people. I stood near the entrance, fidgeting with my drink, feeling invisible. As I watched others interact, I noticed how a charismatic individual drew people in with their warm smile and open gestures. I decided to observe how they engaged others, noting their genuine eye contact and how they leaned in slightly when someone spoke. Inspired, I took a deep breath, straightened my posture, and adopted a similar approach. When I finally mustered the courage to join a conversation, I found myself being more included than I ever anticipated. This encounter taught me that body language is not just an innate trait. It can be learned and adjusted to convey confidence. The joy and connection came not just from the words exchanged, but from the unspoken attraction of body language. In another instance, I attended a public speaking workshop where several participants delivered short talks. One person, who was clearly nervous, stood rigidly and spoke quickly, making minimal eye contact. Despite the valuable insights they shared, the audience didn't engage fully. Afterward, I had a chat with them, where they revealed their struggle with anxiety. I encouraged them to practice expanding their gestures and holding eye contact, even if briefly. The next week, when they presented again, their transformed body language captivated the room. They used their hands to emphasize points and paused to make eye contact with various audience members. It was a testament to how powerful body language can be. Whether we're conscious of it or not, every interaction leaves an impression based on how we present ourselves nonverbally. This reinforces the importance of cultivating our body language skills to enhance our communication and connect more effectively with others. Remember, body language isn't just about what you say, it's about how you say it without uttering a word. Practice being aware of your own body language and observe others as they interact. Start small by focusing on maintaining eye contact during conversations or adopting a more open posture. With time and practice, you'll become more adept at reading these unspoken messages, allowing you to navigate social situations with greater ease. Eye contact. Connecting beyond words. Eye contact plays a vital role in establishing connections and conveying confidence. When I look someone in the eye, I often feel a surge of connection that transcends words. This simple act can convey sincerity, openness, and interest in what the other person is saying. Studies suggest that maintaining eye contact can enhance communication by making interactions feel more personal and engaging. Yet it's not just about staring, it's about creating a shared moment. To practice this, I focus on being attentive and aware of my surroundings, ensuring that my gaze meets that of others in authentic ways. Small pauses in conversation can help me connect even further as I make eye contact, allowing for deeper reflection and response. Reflecting on my own experiences, I recall a pivotal conversation I had with a colleague during a challenging project. We were grappling with differing opinions and tensions were running high. Yet, when we sat across from each other and maintained eye contact, the atmosphere shifted. As we exchanged ideas, our eyes locked, and I could see the understanding and respect grow between us. That moment felt transformative. We became more than just two people discussing a project. We connected in a way that fostered collaboration and mutual support. Later, we laughed about how that eye contact helped diffuse the stress we both felt and allowed us to move forward constructively. Through these interactions, I've learned that eye contact is not just a social nicety, it's a powerful tool in human connection. I encourage you to practice maintaining eye contact, especially in tense or significant conversations. It requires vulnerability, but the payoff can lead to richer, more meaningful dialogue. As you engage with others, take a moment to pause and look them in the eye. Notice how it changes the energy between you. This simple practice can enhance your connections and create a more inviting space for deeper discussions. Gestures that enhance your charisma. Effective gestures act as an extension of our verbal communication, enriching the spoken word and making interactions more engaging. When I discovered the profound impact of gestures, it transformed the way I approached conversations. For instance, using open hand gestures not only invites others into the dialogue, but also conveys honesty and openness. I remember attending a networking event where I saw a colleague speak enthusiastically with expansive hand movements. He wasn't just sharing his ideas, he was creating a welcoming space that encouraged others to engage. This blend of body language and verbal expression accentuated his charisma, drawing people in and establishing an instant connection. Research shows that people are more likely to remember what you say if your gestures complement your words, reinforcing your message with visual cues. Reflecting on my own experiences, I recall a particular moment during a team presentation. As I stood in front of the group, I decided to emphasize a key point by stepping forward and using my hands to illustrate the concept. The slight change in my posture and the intentional gesture shifted the room's energy. Suddenly, their attention sharpened, and I could see the spark of understanding in their eyes. By personalizing my delivery with gestures, I turned a simple presentation into an interactive experience. Afterward, several teammates approached me, mentioning how my enthusiasm made the material more accessible. Such moments reveal that when we consciously engage our body in communication, we elevate our charisma, making our interactions more memorable and impactful. One practical approach to enhance your charisma through gestures is to practice in front of a mirror. Pay attention to what feels natural and how your body movements align with your message. Notice that using gestures that match your words creates a stronger resonance. For example, when expressing growth or increase, an upward hand movement aligns beautifully with the idea. This small practice not only boosts your confidence, but also reinforces your message, making your interactions more dynamic. Like any muscle, the art of gesturing becomes stronger with practice, paving the way for more engaging and charismatic conversations. Chapter 4: Verbal Communication, Speaking with Magnetism, the Power of Storytelling. Storytelling has an undeniable ability to captivate audiences and enhance the charismatic presence of speakers. When we listen to a well-told story, something magical happens. We become invested emotionally and intellectually. It's no wonder that some of the most influential leaders in history have been master storytellers. Their words paint vivid pictures that transport us to different places and times, making complex ideas feel relatable and real. This can be attributed to the way our brains are wired. Neuropsychological research shows that stories activate multiple areas of the brain, engaging our senses and emotions. This activation creates a deeper connection to the message being delivered, turning mere information into memorable experiences. It's like the warmth of a campfire drawing us in, keeping us close as we lean in, hungry for more. Charismatic presence can be cultivated through the art of storytelling. When we share our stories, we are inviting others to see the world through our lens, fostering a sense of trust and connection. I remember the first time I realized the impact of storytelling in my own life. I was asked to give a presentation at a community event, and I wanted to discuss the importance of resilience. Instead of diving into statistics and theories, I chose to share a personal story about my journey through a challenging period. I recounted the night I felt completely lost and how a simple act of kindness from a stranger reignited my hope. As I spoke, I could see the audience lean forward, nodding, and connecting with my experience. It was incredibly powerful to witness how my vulnerability drew people in, creating genuine connections. After the event, I received countless messages from attendees sharing their own experiences, inspired by what I had shared. This reinforced my belief that our personal stories are bridges that connect us in profound ways. They allow us to convey messages not simply through words, but through emotions and experiences that resonate deeply with others. When we harness the power of storytelling, we can enrich our conversations and create bonds that transcend the usual exchanges. Each of us has stories that can illuminate our experiences and encourage others. As you engage in storytelling, whether in casual conversations or formal presentations, remember to be authentic. Share your truths, your challenges, and the lessons learned along the way. This authenticity forms a powerful tool that can inspire those around you and foster connections. To elevate your storytelling, try to incorporate sensory details that bring your stories to life. Describe what you saw, heard, and felt in those moments. The more vivid your narrative, the more likely it'll resonate with others. Consider sharing your stories intentionally. You never know who might need to hear them to feel validated and understood. The impact of tone and pace engagement in conversation often hinges on the subtle nuances of tone and pace. When I speak, I'm aware that my tone can convey a wealth of meaning beyond the words I choose. For instance, I once attended a meeting where the energy was notably low. The speaker's flat tone created a disengaged atmosphere, making even the most stimulating topics feel tedious. In contrast, I recall a conversation with a mentor who, with a vibrant tone and measured pace, turned a simple discussion into an inspiring exchange that left me energized. His enthusiasm was infectious. The way he varied his voice drew me in, inviting not just my attention but my genuine engagement. Thus, how we communicate, inflection, speed, volume, profoundly impacts how our message lands and how we are perceived, especially in terms of charisma. Reflecting on my experiences, I recognize that adjusting my tone has often shifted the atmosphere of interaction in remarkable ways. A few years back, I facilitated a workshop. Initially, I followed my prepared script, speaking monotonously. Participants appeared disconnected, their eyes wandering. Sensing the lack of engagement, I decided to change my approach. I introduced humor and adapted a warmer tone, paired with a deliberate slow pace to emphasize key points. Suddenly, faces lit up, laughter erupted, and questions flowed freely. The pivot was almost magical. The room transformed from a stiff environment into a lively discussion hub. This experience cemented my understanding that tone is not merely about sound, but is instrumental in establishing connection. When we modulate our delivery, we have the power to cultivate trust and inspire enthusiasm, making our conversations not just exchanges of information, but opportunities for connection. In everyday life, being mindful of tone and pace can profoundly transform our interactions, whether in professional settings or casual chats. Whenever you feel a conversation stalling or drifting, consider how your tone might be impacting the energy in the room. A calm, measured pace can help to clarify points, while a quicker tempo can inject enthusiasm. Remember, the next time you engage in dialogue, think about how you can use your voice as a tool to shape the interaction. By practicing this awareness, you'll not only enhance your conversational skills, but also enrich your relationships. Engaging others with active listening. Active listening is more than just hearing words. It's a communication skill that involves truly understanding and engaging with what someone is saying. When I say active, I mean that it requires intention and effort. You need to focus not just on the content of the conversation, but also on the emotions and intentions behind those words. This kind of listening plays a vital role in establishing rapport and charisma. When people feel they are being heard, they open up in unexpected ways. It creates a connection, a bond that isn't easily broken because it shows genuine interest. Active listening tells others, "What you say matters to me," which is foundational for building trust in any relationship, whether personal or professional. Reflecting on my own experiences, I remember a time when I was part of a team meeting that felt more like a chore than a collaboration. Voices were competing for attention, and people were mostly waiting for their turn to speak. Somehow, during all this noise, I decided to practice active listening. A colleague shared a story about a difficult project he had tackled, and instead of mentally preparing my response, I leaned in, maintained eye contact, and nodded affirmatively. To my surprise, his demeanor shifted. He began to elaborate, and the group itself quieted as they noticed my engagement. By simply being present and attentive, the conversation became richer and more meaningful. It not only transformed the dynamic of that meeting, but also fostered a deeper respect among team members. This shift in my approach to listening has served me well in various situations. For instance, during a casual coffee catch up with a friend who was feeling down, I found myself fully immersed in her story. I wasn't just waiting to give her advice or share my own experiences. I focused entirely on her feelings. After talking for a while, she looked relieved and grateful for having the space to express herself freely. That day, I realized that active listening doesn't just improve conversations, it has the power to transform relationships. It cultivates an atmosphere of empathy and support, a sanctuary where authentic communication can flourish. The next time you're in a dialogue, try this. Remind yourself to listen with your heart as well as your ears. You'll find that engagement isn't just about what you say, it's often about how well you listen. Chapter 5: Presence and Poise, the Charismatic Aura, the Art of Being Present in the Moment. Being present in the moment is more than just a simple act. It's a profound state of awareness that can significantly enhance our charisma and interpersonal connections. When I first began my journey into mindfulness, I didn't fully grasp how powerful it could be. I often found myself distracted, thinking about what I had to do next, or worrying about things that had already happened. In contrast, practicing mindfulness allowed me to focus my energy on the interactions at hand. Instead of worrying about the past or future, I learned to appreciate the richness of the present moment, which transformed the way I engaged with others. This conscious awareness radiates a sense of confidence and authenticity. People are drawn to those who are fully present, as it generates trust and understanding. I can recall instances where, during a conversation, I put aside my phone and made a real effort to listen. The difference was palpable. My conversation partner responded warmly, and we shared a genuine connection. It's like turning the volume up on authenticity and down on distraction, making our interactions more meaningful and engaging. As I dove deeper into mindfulness practices, I noticed several tools that significantly improved my presence. One of the most effective for me was a simple breathing technique. Before entering a meeting or social gathering, I would take a few moments to breathe deeply, focusing on the rhythm of my breath. This small act grounded me and cleared away the mental clutter that often clouded my interactions. In those moments of mindful breathing, I let go of my concerns, allowing me to fully immerse myself in the conversations that followed. Another experience that stands out is my exploration of active listening. Mindfulness taught me to listen, not just to respond, but to genuinely hear what others are saying. I focused on their words, emotions, and body language, which helped me become more attuned to their needs and feelings. This not only enriched my understanding, but also made me more engaging as a conversational partner. People often shared more deeply, and I was able to connect with them on a level that went beyond surface interactions. The key takeaway from these practices is that being present enhances not just charisma, but the quality of our relationships, enriching our interactions with the world around us. One practical tip is to integrate brief mindfulness moments into your daily routine. Whether it's a few deep breaths before speaking with someone or taking a brief pause to observe your surroundings, these moments can significantly improve your ability to connect with others. Start small, and over time, you'll notice how being present can transform your interactions. How to exude calm and composure. Maintaining composure in various situations is essential for projecting confidence and charisma. It's about creating an aura that draws people in rather than pushing them away. I have found that one of the most effective ways to stay composed is to focus on my breath. When I feel my heart racing or my mind starting to spin, I take a moment to inhale deeply through my nose, hold it for a few seconds, and then slowly exhale through my mouth. This simple technique anchors me in the present moment. It's amazing how a few conscious breaths can change my entire state of mind. Additionally, being aware of my body language plays a crucial role. I make it a point to stand tall and keep my posture open, conveying confidence without uttering a word. In conversation, making steady eye contact not only shows that I'm engaged, but also helps me maintain my composure, even when discussions become heated. When I've practiced these techniques, I've noticed that my inner calm starts to influence those around me, creating a more relaxed environment. Reflecting on personal experiences, I recall a moment during a project presentation when tensions were high. The team was under immense pressure, and I could see that my colleagues were visibly anxious. Instead of mirroring this agitated energy, I chose to remain calm. I took a deep breath and began the presentation at a slow, steady pace. By the end, not only had I conveyed our message clearly, but my calm demeanor also helped to settle the team. Afterwards, a colleague confided that my composure had inspired them to feel more at ease, and they too could present with confidence. These instances reaffirm my belief that calmness is contagious. There have been other times, such as during heated discussions, where staying relaxed served to diffuse arguments before they escalated further. I remember a disagreement that could have spiraled out of control. Instead, by pausing to collect my thoughts and responding thoughtfully, we shifted the conversation toward collaborative problem solving. This not only enhanced my presence in the group, but also fostered a spirit of cooperation. Through these experiences, I have learned that calmness can be a powerful tool. In situations where emotions run high, it's crucial to remember that we have the ability to choose our responses. When faced with conflict or uncertainty, I remind myself that calmness isn't just about suppressing my feelings. It's about acknowledging them without letting them dictate my actions. Having a few strategies at hand can serve as a lifebuoy during turbulent times. Whether it's grounding myself through breathing exercises or consciously shifting my body language, these practices are invaluable. By actively choosing calmness, I not only enhance my personal presence, but also encourage others around me to find their own composure amidst chaos. Developing charismatic posture. Posture plays a pivotal role in shaping not just how we feel about ourselves, but also how others perceive us. When I began to understand this connection, I started to pay attention to how my body language affected my presence in various situations. Standing tall, maintaining an open stance, and making eye contact are all elements that significantly amplify one's charisma. People are naturally drawn to individuals with confident postures. It's fascinating to observe how a slight adjustment in stance can create a distinct shift in the energy of a room. When I adopted a more open posture and squared my shoulders, I noticed that the atmosphere around me changed. Conversations flowed more freely, and others seemed more engaged and responsive. This reinforced my belief that posture is much more than just a physical stance. It is a powerful nonverbal communication tool that can convey confidence, warmth, and approachability. Reflecting on my journey, I realize how transforming my posture has reshaped how others perceive me. There was a time when I often slouched, feeling overwhelmed by my surroundings, which inadvertently sent a message of insecurity. As I incorporated intentional practice to improve my posture, the changes weren't merely physical. They impacted my psychological state. People began to respond differently to me, often complimenting my confidence. I remember a particular instance during a presentation at work when I consciously chose to stand tall and engage my audience with eye contact. The positive feedback I received afterward solidified my understanding of the impact posture has on interpersonal dynamics. I could feel the difference. The tension in my shoulders released, and I became more present in the moment. It was as if my newfound posture was unlocking doors to vibrant conversations and meaningful connections. One of the most enlightening realizations was that improving my posture involved consistency and mindfulness. It wasn't just about standing straight, it was about embodying the confidence I wanted to exude. Posture became a daily practice, a reminder to breathe deeply and open myself up to my environment. I started setting small goals, like practicing my posture during casual conversations or while waiting in line. These moments not only helped me solidify the physical changes, but also enhanced my overall mindset. Rather than being preoccupied with anxieties or insecurities, I found myself becoming more attuned to the people around me. As I grew more comfortable in my own skin, I noticed my interactions blossoming. A simple tip to carry forward is to frequently check in on your posture, especially in social settings. Remember, the more you practice, the easier it becomes to embody the charismatic presence you wish to portray. Chapter 6: Networking naturally, connecting with others, building relationships through genuine interest. Genuine interest acts as a powerful catalyst for forging connections with others. When I approach people with curiosity, it creates an environment where authentic dialogue can flourish. People naturally respond to those who show real interest in their thoughts, feelings, and stories. The moment I shift my focus from talking about myself to asking about them, the dynamics change considerably. It transforms networking from a transactional exchange into a meaningful encounter. The art of listening becomes as important as speaking. By sincerely engaging with others, I not only learn a great deal, but also leave a lasting impression. This simple yet profound shift enhances my charisma, making me more approachable and relatable. It's intriguing how being genuinely interested in others paves the way for lasting relationships that can enrich both my personal and professional life. Reflecting on my experiences, I remember a time at a networking event when I met a consultant named Sarah. Instead of leading with my own accomplishments, I started by asking Sarah about her journey. She lit up as she shared her passion for helping companies navigate complex challenges. I could feel her excitement, which was contagious. As I listened intently, asking follow-up questions, it felt less like a formal interaction and more like a conversation between friends. That evening, we not only exchanged contact information, but also ended up discussing personal interests, like our shared love for hiking. This simple act of curiosity led to a meaningful connection that blossomed into a professional collaboration, and over time, a cherished friendship. Through these interactions, I've learned the art of asking questions is crucial. It demonstrates that I value the other person's experiences and insights. A tip that has served me well is to come prepared with a few thoughtful questions tailored to the people I might encounter. Questions like, what inspired you to take your current career path? Or what project are you currently excited about? Can open up discussions that are not only more engaging, but reveal common interests. This approach transforms networking from a daunting task to an enjoyable experience, and with it comes the potential for genuine relationships that enrich my life. Strategies for effective small talk. Starting and maintaining engaging small talk can seem challenging, but it is a skill worth honing. One useful strategy is to show genuine curiosity about the person you're speaking with. When I attend social events, I often begin conversations by asking open-ended questions, like what brings you here today? This invites the other person to share their story and creates an opportunity for me to listen actively. Following their response, I find it effective to build on their interests, adding my own thoughts or experiences, but always keeping the focus on them. This exchange fosters a connection and keeps the dialogue flowing smoothly. Remember that people appreciate being heard, and when you express genuine interest, they are more likely to open up. Good eye contact and a warm smile can also work wonders, making the interaction feel more personal and welcoming. Reflecting on my experiences, there have been countless times when small talk led to deeper conversations. enriching my connections. For instance, at a coffee shop, I struck up a conversation with a stranger who was reading a book I loved. Initially, we chatted about the book, but as we discussed our favorite authors and genres, we discovered shared interests beyond literature. We ended up talking for over an hour, and I learned that he runs a local book club. This serendipitous encounter not only led to a wonderful friendship, but also opened doors to collaborative projects that later blossomed from our initial chat. This experience taught me that small talk is not just superficial chatter, it can act as a stepping stone to meaningful relationships. Over time, I have come to realize that successful small talk often happens when you're prepared to share a bit of yourself while inviting others to do the same. The key is to strike a balance between talking and listening. For example, when someone mentions a hobby, I don't hold back my opinions or stories related to that focus, but also ensure I encourage them to go into detail about their experiences. This dynamic creates a natural flow in the conversation. A practical tip is to pick a theme or subject you are comfortable discussing, such as travel experiences or favorite movies. The next time you find yourself in a situation ripe for small talk, remember that with a sprinkle of curiosity, a dash of storytelling, and an authentic smile, you can turn mundane interactions into meaningful exchanges. Following up and staying connected. Following up in networking is crucial for building and nurturing relationships that can lead to future opportunities. It's easy to exchange contact details at an event, but the magic really happens afterward. A simple follow-up message not only reinforces your initial connection, but also makes it clear that you value the interaction. In my experience, I've found that a thoughtful email or a quick message on social media can open doors I never expected. It shows that you are proactive and genuinely interested in maintaining that relationship. This is particularly important in a world where connections are often treated as fleeting. Long gone are the days when we could afford to let a good connection slip away without checking in. Each follow-up serves as a gentle reminder that you're not just a face in the crowd. You're someone who cares enough to reach out. Reflecting on my journey, I recall a memorable encounter with a fellow writer at a conference. We exchanged business cards and conversed about our mutual interests. But I knew that if I wanted to turn that casual chat into something more meaningful, I had to follow up. A few days later, I sent her an email mentioning a specific point of our conversation and expressing my interest in collaborating on a project. What started as a brief introduction blossomed into an ongoing partnership that has resulted in several successful articles and even a joint book idea. This experience taught me that keeping lines of communication open can lead to fruitful collaborations that may not originally be on the horizon. The key takeaway is to make following up a regular practice. Don't wait for a conference or event to reach out. Consider setting a monthly reminder to check in with contacts from various stages of your career. Whether it's sharing an article that reminded you of a conversation you had, or simply asking how they are doing, these small gestures can leave a lasting impression. Remember, the goal is to cultivate a network that thrives on mutual support and engagement, where every connection matters and can lead to unexpected opportunities. Chapter 7. The Charismatic Mindset, Overcoming Self-Doubt, Recognizing Your Inner Critic. We all have that voice in our head that questions our worth, challenges our decisions, and often tells us we're not enough. This inner critic can be a powerful force that shapes how we view ourselves and ultimately affects our charisma, the way we present ourselves to the world. It's a relentless whisper that can leave us feeling inadequate, small, or unworthy. At times, it might even convince us to avoid opportunities or interactions that could showcase our strengths and highlight our unique qualities. The impact of this inner voice can be profound, leading to a diminished self-image and a reduced willingness to express our true selves. Understanding its nuances is where the journey towards reclaiming our charisma begins. I remember the first time I truly recognized my inner critic. It was during a public speaking engagement where I had convinced myself that I wasn't good enough to be on that stage. As I stood there, my mind raced. What if I messed up? What if they didn't laugh at my jokes? The self-doubt was overwhelming, almost paralyzing. Yet, in that moment, something clicked. I realized this voice was not an accurate reflection of my abilities, but rather a culmination of past experiences and fears. I had spent years trying to silence it, but that voice persisted, feeding on my insecurities. Gradually, I learned to acknowledge its presence, rather than letting it dictate my actions. Sharing this vulnerability and allowing myself to be authentic became pivotal steps toward quieting that inner critic. To confront my inner critic, I began journaling about my feelings, dissecting the thoughts that made me feel inferior. I documented my victories, big and small, which helped create a more balanced narrative about my skills and capabilities. I found that each time I spoke up or took a risk, the critic lost a little of its power. It turned out that the act of sharing my struggles made others resonate with my experience, creating connections built on authenticity and mutual understanding. For anyone grappling with a similar inner voice, remember that it's not about silencing the critic entirely. It's about recognizing it and choosing to rise above it. With consistent effort and self-compassion, you can transform your self-doubt into a springboard for growth. Techniques for building self-esteem. Building self-esteem is crucial for anyone aiming to project charisma and confidence. There are effective techniques that can help elevate self-esteem, and I've discovered that they often combine simplicity with profundity. One powerful technique is mindfulness, which helps to silence that inner critic, the voice that often says we aren't good enough. When I first practiced mindfulness, I noted how observing my thoughts without judgment allowed me to step back from self-doubt. A few minutes each day, focusing on my breath, let me recognize and dismantle negative self-talk. Instead of drowning in a cycle of self-criticism, I started seeing my strengths and acknowledging my accomplishments, however small. This practice has been foundational in cultivating an internal environment where self-esteem could flourish. Throughout my life, I've encountered various situations that significantly impacted my self-esteem. One notable example was when I pursued a role that felt out of reach during my early career. I vividly remember attending a networking event feeling out of place among accomplished professionals. I decided to approach someone who seemed approachable and ended up having a stimulating conversation. That connection turned into mentoring, which provided critical support. Through this interaction, I learned to value my unique perspective and strengths. Gradually, my confidence grew, influencing how I interacted with others. Recognizing my worth through these experiences helped me step out of my comfort zone and embrace opportunities I once believed were unattainable. Another technique that helped build my self-esteem is setting achievable goals. Early in my journey, I realized that aiming too high without smaller milestones could lead to disappointment. Instead, by breaking down larger goals into manageable steps, I could celebrate each small win. For instance, when I wanted to improve my public speaking skills, I didn't just sign up for a conference presentation. I started with local meetups, speaking to small groups, and gradually worked my way up. Each success, no matter how minor, reinforced my belief in my abilities. Maintaining a journal where I logged my progress allowed me not just to track these small victories, but also to remind myself of them when I faced challenges. A practical tip I now offer to others is to celebrate your progress regularly, as this practice nurtures a positive self-image and builds lasting self-esteem. Embracing vulnerability as strength. Vulnerability holds an incredible power in our lives, especially when it comes to connecting with others. It's all too easy to think of vulnerability as a weakness, something we should hide or shield ourselves from. However, it's in our moments of openness that we often create the most genuine connections. When I started sharing my struggles and fears with friends and acquaintances, I noticed a significant shift in how they responded to me. Suddenly, the barriers that kept us apart dissolved, replaced by mutual understanding and respect. People are drawn to authenticity, and when we are willing to lay bare our imperfections, we invite others to do the same. This mutual exchange not only fosters deeper relationships, but also infuses us with a certain charisma that can make us more relatable and magnetic to those around us. Reflecting on my journey, I can recall a particular time during a team meeting at work. I had always felt pressure to appear confident and collected, but one day I decided to share my struggle with balancing work and personal life. I was surprised by the immediate response from my colleagues. Instead of the usual small talk, people began sharing their own stories of burnout and frustration. This moment of sharing made the atmosphere in the room shift dramatically. We went from being coworkers to a supportive group of individuals who could lean on each other. Instead of hiding my vulnerability, I discovered it was the very thing that made me more relatable, allowing others to see a part of themselves in my story. These experiences have taught me that opening up is not just about sharing pain, it is also about inviting others into our lives. By embracing vulnerability, we become a beacon of strength rather than a source of weakness. It's important to remember that everyone has their struggles, and when we reveal our own, we give permission for others to do the same. So the next time you find yourself hesitating to share your feelings or experiences, consider how your openness could foster deeper connections. Perhaps start small, like sharing a recent challenge with a trusted friend, and witness the deepening relationship that unfolds. The strength of vulnerability is not just in being seen, it is in seeing others as well. Chapter 8: Personal Branding: Crafting Your Charismatic Image. What is personal branding? Personal branding is about creating an identity that communicates who you are, what you stand for, and the unique value you bring to the table. It's that invisible thread that connects your persona with how others perceive you. Charisma plays a significant role in this. Charismatic people have a way of captivating others, making them feel important and engaged. When we meet someone new, the first impressions we create can stick, sometimes for years, even if they're not entirely accurate. This is where personal branding intertwines with our innate charisma. It's not just about how we present ourselves outwardly, it's also about the energy we radiate and the emotions we evoke in others. Reflecting on my journey, my understanding of personal branding has transformed significantly over the years. I remember a time when I thought branding was solely the realm of businesses, defined by logos, products, and advertising strategies. My perspective shifted when I started my career. I realized that, much like a business, I needed to curate my image and the messaging about who I am, particularly in a professional context. Initially, I felt uncomfortable with the idea of self-promotion. It sounded selfish, as if I was trying to put on a facade. But over time, I learned to embrace it as an ongoing expression of my values, skills, and passions. Each interaction became a chance to refine my personal brand, whether it was through a casual conversation at a networking event or during a job interview. As I deepened my understanding, I recognized that personal branding isn't merely about visibility, it's about authenticity. I began to appreciate how sharing personal anecdotes, insights, and even failures could build genuine connections with others. I understood that every story I shared shaped my brand and the impression I left in someone's mind. So, a practical tip? Start by reflecting on what makes you unique. Identify your core values and how you want others to perceive you. Then, experiment with sharing your story. Bravery lies in vulnerability, and often it is this authenticity that resonates most deeply with others. Aligning your image with your values. Understanding the importance of aligning personal values with the image you project is crucial in enhancing your charisma. There was a time in my life when I felt a disconnect between who I was inside and how I presented myself to the world. I wore clothes that I thought were trendy, laughed at jokes I didn't find funny, and even attended events that didn't inspire me. I was, in essence, building an image that didn't reflect my true self. This dissonance made me feel uneasy, and it showed in my interactions. People responded to me with a sense of confusion, as if they could sense my internal struggle. It took some reflection and a realization that my personal values needed to shine through my image for me to truly connect with others. When I began to align my outward appearance and behaviors with what I genuinely valued, kindness, authenticity, and creativity, I noticed a remarkable shift in how people responded to me. My charisma blossomed, and conversations became more meaningful. Bringing authenticity into my interactions required practical steps. For instance, I remember attending a local art exhibit that resonated with my passion for creativity. Instead of just showing up in the typical business attire I assumed was expected, I chose to wear something colorful and artistic that represented my love for the arts. As I mingled with other attendees, my outfit sparked conversations about our favorite artists and creative processes. This connection was palpable and rooted in genuine interest rather than forced pleasantries. Additionally, I started sharing stories that reflected my values, like how I volunteer in my community. Those discussions not only deepened my connections, but also empowered others to open up about their passions and values. People appreciate authenticity, and when you allow your true self to shine through, it invites others to do the same, enhancing the quality of your interactions. The takeaway here is simple yet profound. Aligning your image with your personal values can elevate your interactions and help you to forge deeper connections. This isn't just about projecting a certain look or adopting specific behavior, but about embracing who you truly are in every aspect of your life. So think about what matters most to you and how you can project that in your daily interactions. Whether it's through your wardrobe choices, the topics you engage in, or how you express your opinions, embracing authenticity will illuminate your path to more meaningful connections. Leveraging social media for charisma. Social media is a powerful tool for cultivating charisma in the digital age. I've learned that the key to leveraging social platforms lies in authenticity and engagement. Sharing personal stories, insights, and even vulnerabilities can create a more relatable persona. For instance, when I posted about my own struggles with public speaking, the response was overwhelming. People reached out to share their experiences, which opened the door to deeper conversations. This not only enhanced my connections, but also made me feel more connected and appreciated by my audience. Furthermore, it's important to be consistent in your messaging and presence. Regularly posting content that reflects your values and interests shows your audience who you are and what you stand for. I remember starting a series on social media where I shared weekly reflections on personal growth. This series didn't just attract likes, it built a community of individuals who were eager to share their own journeys. Engaging with comments and messages fosters a sense of intimacy that traditional media simply cannot provide. It's about creating a dialogue rather than a monologue, which is foundational for charismatic communication. One particular connection stands out to me. I met Sarah through a shared interest in creative writing. At first, we merely liked each other's posts and exchanged a few comments. However, everything changed when I shared a more personal story about overcoming writer's block. Sarah resonated with my experience and reached out via direct message to open up about her own struggles. This simple gesture of reaching out transformed our connection into a deep friendship. We began collaborating on projects and even holding virtual writing workshops. That experience taught me the power of vulnerability in building relationships. Another memorable moment came when I hosted a live Q&A session about pursuing passions. I was surprised by the turnout, but even more surprising was the interaction that followed. One participant, Mark, shared his journey of changing careers. He seemed a bit shy, but I encouraged him to share more, and he did. After the session, we continued the conversation in private messages, eventually developing a mentorship where I offered tips and guidance. This relationship became more than just a social media interaction. It blossomed into a fulfilling partnership where both of us learned and grew. These experiences have shown me that social media can indeed act as a gateway to meaningful relationships, as long as you approach it with an open heart and a willingness to connect. Remember, the heart of charisma lies not just in how you present yourself, but in how you connect with others. Consider using your online platforms to reach out and engage with your audience on a human level. You never know what meaningful relationships might be waiting just beneath the surface. Chapter 9: Charisma in Action, Real-Life Examples. Iconic figures, charismatic leaders to learn from. Throughout history, there have been iconic figures whose charisma not only shaped their own destinies, but also inspired countless others. Think of Martin Luther King Jr., with his ability to evoke passion and hope through powerful oratory. His famous "I Have a Dream" speech resonates through time, inviting us to believe in a better future. Charisma, in this sense, is not just about being charming, it's about igniting a collective spirit and prompting people to act toward a common goal. Another example is Nelson Mandela, whose unwavering spirit and magnetic presence united a fragmented nation and brought forth the ideals of peace and reconciliation. Observing figures like these not only reminds us of the potential of leadership, but also teaches valuable lessons in empathy, authenticity, and the power of a shared vision. They exemplified not just how to lead, but how to uplift and empower others through their presence and words. Reflecting on the charismatic leaders I admire, I often find myself inspired by their authenticity and connection with others. For instance, Malala Yousafzai stands out as a beacon of courage and conviction. Her ability to convey her message with genuine passion, even in the face of adversity, illustrates the profound impact of being true to oneself and one's beliefs. Similarly, I've observed leaders in my own life who, though not as globally recognized, possess an innate ability to connect with people on a personal level. Whether it's a mentor who listens attentively or a colleague who encourages collaboration, these individuals show me that charisma is rooted in kindness and understanding. Taking note of their qualities, I strive to embody those traits, knowing that charisma can be nurtured through genuine relationships and kindness. The more we invest in understanding and uplifting those around us, the more influential we can become. In embracing the lessons learned from these iconic leaders, one practical takeaway stands out: practice active listening. When we listen genuinely, we not only show respect, but also elevate others' voices. This simple act of engagement can foster a more charismatic presence. Whether we're in a small team meeting or addressing a larger audience, inviting others to share their thoughts can create a sense of belonging and shared purpose. Being truly present in conversations allows us to connect on deeper levels, making our own leadership journey richer and more impactful. Everyday charisma, stories from ordinary people. Charisma isn't solely reserved for the famous or powerful. It can be found in the most ordinary of individuals who light up the lives of those around them. Consider the woman at the local coffee shop, always smiling and remembering your name. Her personality has a way of making you feel seen and appreciated, creating a warm environment that draws people in. Everyday charisma often shines brightest in acts of kindness, genuine interest, and heartfelt communication, qualities that we all can develop and nurture. The beauty of charisma lies in its accessibility. It's built on our ability to connect, listen, and express ourselves authentically. In a world that sometimes feels distant and disconnected, the stories of everyday individuals can remind us of the simple yet profound impact of charisma. I recall my neighbor, an elderly gentleman with a wealth of stories and a passion for sharing them. His infectious laughter and ability to engage anyone in conversation turned our small community into a closer-knit family. His charisma was evident not through grand gestures, but through his commitment to knowing the stories of others and inspiring connections among us. This ability to create warmth in relationships becomes a kind of magnetism, drawing people together, fostering community, and encouraging us to be our best selves in turn. The charm of everyday charisma is often found in the remarkable stories of individuals who surprise us with their warmth and authenticity. A friend of mine, a teacher named Sarah, embodies this essence. She walks into her classroom every day with an eagerness that makes her students excited to learn. Sarah's charisma lies in her attentive nature. She listens to their dreams and fears, making each student feel valued and understood. Her classroom is a safe haven where confident ideas flourish and students support each other. Her approach is simple yet powerful, reminding me that charisma often resides in our ability to draw others out of their shells and into enlightening conversations. There's also my uncle, a quiet man with a love for gardening. At family gatherings, he captivates us not with loud laughter, but with engaging stories about his plants, conveyed with incredible passion and enthusiasm. The way he explains the growth of his prized tomatoes or shares the trick behind his fragrant herbs pulls us in, turning something as mundane as gardening into a captivating narrative. His charisma is subtle. It shines through in his ability to share personal stories and knowledge in a way that invites curiosity and connection. These encounters teach us that charisma doesn't always mean being the loudest in the room. It often means being the most genuinely interested in the people in it. Embodying charisma is less about changing who you are and more about amplifying your unique qualities. Engage with authenticity, listen intently, and make those around you feel important. Small gestures like a smile or a heartfelt compliment can pave the way to meaningful connections. Remember that every interaction holds the potential for charisma, and by embracing this mindset, you can brighten the days of others in ways you might never have imagined. Analyzing charisma in popular culture. Charisma is a quality that captivates us, and in popular culture, charismatic characters often take center stage in films, books, and media. Think of figures like Tony Stark in the Marvel Cinematic Universe or Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. Their allure doesn't just stem from their story arcs, it's in how they connect with audiences. When I first watched Iron Man, I was struck by Stark's bravado mixed with vulnerability. His charm lies not just in his quick wit or flashy gadgets, but in the way he evolves throughout the story. This captivating blend of confidence and complexity allows viewers to resonate with him, making Stark a compelling study in charisma. Similarly, Elizabeth Bennet's sharp intelligence and independence have continued to inspire audiences for generations, showcasing that charisma can also thrive in characters who defy societal norms. Portrayals of charisma in media have a profound impact on our real-life perceptions of what it means to be charismatic. Charisma seems to be something we can almost distill into a checklist of traits: confidence, eloquence, and charm. However, when I reflect on how these characters have shaped our understanding, it becomes evident that they challenge these notions. In observing characters like Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird, I noted how his moral integrity and calm presence embody a different kind of charisma that doesn't shout, but gently draws people in. This nuanced view helps us appreciate that charisma isn't merely about being the loudest person in the room. It often resides in kindness, empathy, and authenticity. These reflections compel us to consider how we measure charisma in our own lives. If films teach us anything, it's that real-world charisma often requires deeper qualities like genuine connection and kindness, not just surface-level appeal. Understanding the characteristics of charismatic figures in popular culture helps us not only to appreciate storytelling, but also to navigate our interactions in everyday life. We might ask ourselves, what makes someone charismatic to me? Whenever I've tried to cultivate my own presence in social situations, I've found that listening more and connecting authentically tends to create a lasting impression. Instead of striving for a false persona, embracing the unique aspects of our personalities can be the highest form of charisma. Next time you engage with charismatic characters in your favorite media, take a moment to reflect on the qualities they embody and consider how those traits can inspire your interactions in the real world. Chapter 10: The Art of Influence: Persuading with Charisma. Understanding the principles of persuasion. Exploring the foundational principles of persuasion has been a journey filled with insights that have enhanced my ability to connect and influence others. At its heart, persuasion is not just about the tactics used to change someone's mind. It's deeply rooted in understanding human behavior, our needs, and desires. One principle that became evident to me is the concept of reciprocity. When you give something of value, people feel a natural inclination to return the favor. It's fascinating how this principle can manifest in everyday interactions. For example, during a community service event, I volunteered to help organize and distribute food. The gratitude expressed by the recipients created a bond, prompting many to actively participate in future events, giving back to the community after they had received help. This cycle of giving and receiving is powerful and unmistakably linked to how we influence others. Another principle that stands out is social proof. I remember a time during a group project when we were tasked with presenting a plan to our peers. Initially, our group was nervous, presenting a bold idea that deviated from the classic approach everyone was accustomed to. As we shared our proposal, I highlighted similar successful initiatives from respected organizations. Seeing those examples not only bolstered our credibility, but also eased the apprehension of our audience. By framing our idea within the context of social proof, we helped others visualize its success, which garnered enthusiasm and support. ultimately leading to our proposal being adopted. This experience reinforced how social validation can play a critical role in the persuasion process. Reflecting on these moments, I've come to appreciate the art and science of persuasion as a tapestry woven from personal experiences and psychological principles. Each interaction holds an opportunity to apply these insights, whether sharing knowledge, collaborating on projects, or even conversing casually with friends. When I approach these situations with the intent to connect rather than merely convince, I find the impact deeper and more meaningful. As you navigate your own interactions, remember the power of reciprocity, authority, and social proof. Understanding these principles can transform not only your persuasive abilities, but also your relationships with others. Try incorporating these principles into your daily conversations. Think about what value you can offer first or how you can illustrate shared experiences. The results might just surprise you. Charismatic influence in leadership. Charisma is often seen as an innate quality, but its role in effective leadership and influence cannot be overstated. Charismatic leaders have an uncanny ability to inspire and motivate those around them. What makes charisma so important is its power to forge connections and foster trust. This emotional connection can often translate into heightened enthusiasm, commitment, and loyalty among team members. When a leader communicates a compelling vision with passion, it ignites a spark in the audience, propelling them toward collective goals. Such influence goes beyond mere authority. It cultivates an environment where individuals feel valued and engaged. Research shows that leaders who display warmth and confidence can significantly enhance their ability to inspire others, creating a ripple effect that can transform organizational culture. In my career, I've had the privilege to encounter various leaders who exemplified the art of charisma. One standout was a high school principal who had a remarkable way of connecting with both students and staff. Whenever he walked into a room, the atmosphere shifted. His vibrant storytelling drew us in, and suddenly, a simple faculty meeting became an inspiring rally for our shared goals. He had this gift of making every individual feel like they mattered, taking the time to learn names and share personal anecdotes. I remember one day, after a student had a tough time, he took it upon himself to check in with them personally, using their experience to motivate the entire school during a morning assembly. His charisma was palpable and had a lasting impact, not just for that day, but for the ethos he built within our community. These experiences reinforce the idea that charisma can be cultivated and honed. It's not just about being charming, it's about showing authenticity, sharing vulnerability, and building rapport. Whenever leading a team, I strive to echo this practice, whether it's by sharing personal stories that resonate or simply taking the time to listen with genuine interest. I believe every leader can tap into their own charismatic potential. The takeaway is clear. Leadership rooted in charisma is not merely about leading from the front, but also about connecting with others on a deeper level. Try approaching your next leadership challenge with this mindset, and you might just find that people respond to your vision and methods with an enthusiasm you never expected. Ethical considerations and influence. Using charisma to influence others carries significant ethical responsibilities. When I first began to explore the power of influence, I was captivated by how a few well-placed words or a captivating story could sway decisions and emotions. However, with that power came a heavy understanding of the responsibility attached to it. Charisma can be a double-edged sword. It can uplift, inspire, and create positive change, but it can also be used to manipulate and deceive. It's easy to be swept up in the thrill of persuading others, but I soon learned that the intention behind my words matters just as much as the words themselves. It's crucial to reflect on whether you're trying to empower someone or simply further your own agenda. This ethical consideration constantly hovers in my mind, acting as a compass guiding my interactions. I remind myself that my influence should promote authenticity, respect, and integrity. Teaching people to think for themselves rather than merely following my lead fosters genuine connection and a more profound sense of trust. Throughout my journey, I've faced ethical dilemmas in various situations. One particular instance stands out. I was involved in a project where the goal was to encourage team members to adopt certain practices. The approach I devised involved highlighting the potential benefits, which included efficiency and personal growth. As I enthusiastically presented my ideas, I noticed some reluctant faces in the crowd. It struck me there and then, although I could persuade them to see things my way, doing so without acknowledging their concerns felt disingenuous. Instead of pushing ahead with my agenda, I decided to open the floor for discussion, inviting insights and apprehensions. This not only helped me understand their perspectives, but also built a more trusting environment. By acknowledging their voices, I realized I could influence without undermining their autonomy. This experience taught me that true influence isn't just about persuading, it's about fostering collaboration and respect. Every thought and action in our persuasive efforts should come from a place of ethical consideration. Reflect on your motivations and the potential impact of your influence on others. The goal isn't to twist someone's arm to see things your way, but to invite them into a dialogue. Authentic engagement fosters a more fulfilling exchange where everyone feels valued and heard. A practical tip that has served me well is to actively listen before attempting to influence. By doing so, we not only become better communicators, but also ethical influencers who respect the agency of others. This approach doesn't just increase our chances of success, it also leaves a lasting impression that goes beyond the moment of persuasion, deepening relationships and enhancing our moral compass in the world of influence. Chapter 11. Handling criticism and negativity. Resilience in charisma. Learning to accept feedback gracefully. Receiving feedback can be one of the most challenging aspects of personal and professional growth. For a long time, I avoided constructive criticism like the plague, fearing it would undermine my confidence. However, I gradually discovered that embracing feedback is essential for personal growth and can even enhance one's charisma. One effective strategy is to approach feedback with curiosity rather than defensiveness. When someone offers their perspective, I remind myself that they're providing a gift, an opportunity to see myself through another's eyes. This shift in mindset not only helps me remain open, but also encourages a deeper understanding of my strengths and areas for improvement. Another helpful approach is to normalize the feedback experience. I learned to view feedback as a regular part of my journey, similar to checking the temperature of water before diving in. I began soliciting feedback from trusted peers, inviting them to share their thoughts openly. Creating this feedback-rich environment felt liberating. It transformed feedback from a daunting hurdle into a more collaborative and supportive conversation. I soon understood that vulnerability in receiving feedback didn't diminish my charisma. Instead, it amplified my authenticity, making me more relatable and approachable. Reflecting on my own journey, I recall a pivotal moment early in my career. I had just given a presentation that I thought was well received. However, a colleague approached me afterward and pointed out several areas needed improvement. My initial reaction was defensive. It stung to hear criticism of something I held dear, but I decided to take a step back and reflect. After allowing myself to process the information, I revisited my colleagues' feedback with a fresh perspective. I realized that their observations were not personal attacks, but constructive insights aimed at my professional development. This experience became a turning point for me. By accepting feedback with grace, I not only improved my presentation skills, but also gained a reputation for being open-minded and willing to learn. This shift in how I received feedback started to exude a new kind of charisma, one rooted in humility and a genuine desire for growth. Others began to feel more comfortable sharing their thoughts with me, fostering a culture of trust and collaboration. Through this journey, I learned that accepting feedback gracefully can redirect our charismatic presence by making us more relatable and inspiring to those around us. Always remember that embracing feedback is not a sign of weakness. It's a marker of strength that invites growth and connection. When approaching feedback, consider asking clarifying questions. If someone offers advice, inquire about specific examples that illustrate their point. This not only shows your commitment to understanding, but also allows you to gain valuable insights to enhance your personal and professional image. Transforming criticism into growth opportunities. Understanding how to transform criticism into constructive opportunities for development is a skill that can dramatically enhance personal growth. Criticism, whether from colleagues, friends, or family, can sting at first, but it also holds valuable lessons if we choose to see it that way. Instead of recoiling from negative feedback, embracing it as a stepping stone can be transformative. Feedback often points out areas we might overlook, acting as a mirror reflecting our blind spots. A crucial first step is to listen without immediately preparing a defense. This approach requires humility and a willingness to see ourselves as others do, even when it's uncomfortable. By maintaining an open mindset, we create space for growth and development. In my own journey, I recall a specific instance at work when my manager emphasized my tendency to dominate team discussions. Initially, my instinct was to feel defensive, convinced that my contributions were valuable. However, after reflecting on the feedback over a weekend, I recognized a pattern I had overlooked. In my eagerness to share ideas, I often silenced quieter team members, inadvertently making them feel undervalued. This insight prompted me to change my approach. In our next meeting, I consciously made an effort to invite quieter members to share their thoughts first. Not only did the team dynamic improve, but I also found myself learning new perspectives that enriched our projects. This experience solidified my belief that criticism can catalyze significant change, guiding us towards better leadership and collaboration. One practical tip is to reframe the narrative around criticism. Instead of viewing it as an attack, see it as an opportunity for learning and self-discovery. Journaling your thoughts post-feedback can be a helpful exercise. It encourages reflection and helps you pinpoint actionable steps based on the criticism received. Over time, this practice can not only enhance your personal growth, but also foster a more resilient mindset when faced with negative remarks. Remember, every piece of criticism is a chance to evolve and gain deeper insights about ourselves. Managing negative energy from others. Negative energy can seep into our lives more easily than we might think, especially in environments filled with stress or conflict. One of the most effective techniques I've found is visualizing a protective barrier around myself. This doesn't require any special training, just a moment of quiet where I can close my eyes and imagine a bubble of light encasing me. This bubble acts as a shield, blocking out negativity while allowing positivity and warmth to flow in. It's this mental imagery that helps me to maintain a sense of calm and charisma even when others bring their negativity to the table. Equally important is the practice of mindfulness. Staying aware of my thoughts and feelings in the moment allows me to recognize when someone's negativity starts to affect me. If a colleague is expressing frustration or negativity, I take a deep breath and ground myself. Ignoring the negativity doesn't help. Instead, addressing it calmly can redirect the energy in a more positive direction. By calmly acknowledging the issue with empathy, I can often diffuse the situation while remaining composed and charismatic. There was a time when I was part of a tight-knit team that faced significant project pressure. One member, who was usually cheerful, began to spread his frustration like wildfire. At first, I felt the weight of his negativity creeping into my mindset, and I noticed my energy dipping. I decided to take a step back and implement my visualization technique. That evening, I spent some time in a quiet park, picturing my protective bubble and gathering positive energy from nature. The next day at work, I felt renewed. Instead of mirroring his negativity, I focused on fostering a supportive environment by encouraging open dialogue. Our team eventually transformed that negativity into constructive problem solving, and I felt empowered by my ability to shift the atmosphere while enhancing my presence as a mediator. Another memorable experience happened during a family gathering where the atmosphere shifted when discussions turned political. The air became thick with tension, and I could see my family members' faces tighten with frustration. Recognizing I was at a tipping point, I recalled my mindfulness training. Instead of engaging in heated conversations, I pivoted the focus toward shared experiences and laughter. I initiated a game that drew everyone together, allowing us to connect on lighter topics. The result? The negativity dissipated, and our relationships felt even stronger afterward. Moments like these remind me that navigating negativity isn't just about shielding myself, it's also about harnessing positivity to uplift those around us. Keep in mind, if negativity surrounds you, your response can change everything. To maintain your vibrant charisma despite the negativity from others, consistently practice psychological techniques. Empower yourself with visualization, mindfulness, and a dash of humor. Remember, it's not just about shielding yourself, it's also about creating an environment that fosters connection and positivity. Chapter 12: Charisma Across Cultures. Understanding Differences. What charisma looks like in different cultures. The concept of charisma can feel like a chameleon, constantly changing based on the cultural lens through which we view it. For instance, in many Western cultures, charisma often aligns with extroverted qualities. Think of someone who is outgoing, expressively engaging in conversation, and unafraid to share their opinions. This energetic approach to social interaction typically resonates well in settings like businesses or social gatherings, where being seen and heard takes precedence. However, if you travel to Japan, you might find that charisma takes on a more subdued form. In Japanese culture, qualities like humility, attentiveness, and the ability to read the room are highly valued. Here, a charismatic individual might instill a sense of calm and reliability rather than seeking the limelight. It's a reminder that effective communication and charm can manifest in many shades, and understanding this can be incredibly enriching. Throughout my travels, I encountered various expressions of charisma that challenged my earlier notions. One particular experience stands out: attending a community gathering in India during a festival. The atmosphere was vibrant, filled with music, color, and laughter. Yet, amidst the joyous chaos, I noticed a woman sitting quietly on the periphery, observing the interactions around her. As the evening unfolded, it became evident that this woman embodied a different type of charisma. She drew people in, not with loud proclamations, but with a warmth that invited conversation and connection. Later, I learned she was a respected elder in the community. Her deep understanding of tradition and her ability to listen intently made her a source of guidance. This experience broadened my understanding of charisma, illustrating that it doesn't always equate to flamboyance or dominance. Sometimes it's about making others feel valued and understood. Adapting your charisma style globally. Every culture has its own nuances when it comes to communication, and understanding these can make a huge difference in how your charisma is received. For instance, in some cultures, direct eye contact is a sign of confidence and trustworthiness, while in others, it can feel confrontational or disrespectful. I've learned to pay close attention to nonverbal cues, as these often provide the most significant insight into how my message is being received. Adapting my charismatic style meant adjusting my body language and tone to align with the cultural norms of the people I was interacting with. In places where humility is valued over overt self-promotion, I've softened my approach, focusing more on listening and less on showcasing my achievements. This not only made me more relatable, but also helped forge stronger connections. Reflecting on my travels, I've gathered valuable insights about charisma and connection. I remember attending a business conference in Japan where I initially stumbled with my Western-style approach. While I was eager to engage, my energy levels and assertiveness were met with polite smiles, but little genuine interaction. Realizing I needed to recalibrate, I took a step back. I observed how others communicated and adjusted my style accordingly. I started incorporating more respectful gestures, like bowing slightly during introductions and giving credit to others before sharing my ideas. This shift led to deeper conversations and opened up opportunities for collaboration that I hadn't anticipated. My journey through varied environments underscored an essential lesson. True charisma is a blend of authenticity and adaptability. It's about meeting people where they are while still being true to who you are. These experiences taught me that effective charisma is a fluid concept. One practical tip I often carry with me is to engage in active listening. It allows you to tune into the preferences and comfort levels of those around you. When in doubt, ask questions that invite dialogue and be genuinely curious about the answers. This demonstrates respect and fosters connections that transcend cultural boundaries. Embracing the notion that charisma can vary greatly depending on context empowers us to connect with a diverse range of people, enriching our personal and professional lives. The role of cultural sensitivity in charisma. Cultural sensitivity plays a crucial role in fostering charismatic interactions. Engaging with others from diverse backgrounds requires an awareness of their values, beliefs, and communication styles. When I think back on my journey, I realize that my most impactful connections happened when I took the time to understand the cultural contexts of the people I was interacting with. For instance, during my travels in Southeast Asia, I noticed the profound respect people had for hierarchies and traditional roles. By adapting my approach to honor these cultural norms, I was able to forge deeper bonds, demonstrating that I valued not just their differences, but the richness they brought to our conversations. This understanding laid the groundwork for genuine connections, expressing warmth and respect, which are essential components of charisma. There was one particular experience that stands out in my mind, a moment that truly showcased how cultural awareness can enhance charisma. While attending a business conference in Mexico, I found myself sitting at a table where most participants were local entrepreneurs. Realizing that the casual and friendly nature of their communication was vastly different from the more formal approach I was accustomed to, I made a conscious effort to engage in their traditional forms of exchange. By incorporating a few phrases in Spanish and actively listening to stories about their culture, I could feel the atmosphere shift. Everyone opened up, sharing experiences and insights with ease. It was evident that my efforts to embrace their cultural nuances resonated positively, allowing me to lead a discussion that felt both dynamic and inclusive. These experiences taught me that charisma is not just about being outgoing or confident, but also about being adaptable and empathetic. Recognizing and respecting cultural differences enables individuals to connect on a deeper level. When we embrace cultural sensitivity, we not only enhance our interpersonal skills, but also enrich our lives with diverse perspectives. A practical tip to incorporate cultural sensitivity into your charismatic approach is to commit to continuous learning. Whether through reading, attending workshops, or simply engaging in conversations with people from different backgrounds, the more you immerse yourself in diverse cultures, the better equipped you will be to foster authentic and charismatic interactions. Chapter 13. Practicing Charisma, Daily Exercises to Cultivate Presence. Daily mindfulness practices. Incorporating daily mindfulness exercises into my routine has transformed not just my mental state, but also how I interact with the world. It began with simple practices, taking a few deep breaths before my day started, being fully present during conversations, and noticing the details around me while walking. These exercises transcend mere relaxation. They enhance my presence and charisma, allowing me to connect with others more authentically. For instance, while sitting in a coffee shop, I would focus on the sounds of the barista preparing drinks, the aroma of fresh coffee, and the whispers of patrons discussing their lives. This simple act of awareness makes every moment richer and fosters deeper connections, leading others to feel valued in my presence. Reflecting on my mindfulness journey, I still remember the day I decided to commit myself to this practice. It was a chaotic point in my life when I felt overwhelmed by stress and disconnection. I started keeping a journal, capturing my feelings and thoughts after each mindfulness session. Over time, I noticed subtle but powerful shifts within myself. My confidence grew, and I became increasingly aware of how my energy affected those around me. When I walked into a room, I found that my more relaxed demeanor often drew people in, allowing for warmer exchanges. My awareness expanded, revealing how simple acts like a genuine smile or active listening not only enriched my relationships, but also made me feel more grounded and present. As you explore your own mindfulness practices, remember that even small daily actions can make a significant difference. Try setting aside just 5 minutes each morning to breathe deeply and ground yourself in the moment. This single act can set a positive tone for the day, enhancing your connections with others. Being mindful isn't so much about the length of time spent, but the quality of your focus. Embrace the simplicity of being present. After all, it's in the tapestry of our daily lives that we cultivate the presence and charisma that impact those around us. Role playing scenarios for charismatic interactions. Role playing scenarios can be a powerful tool for enhancing your charisma. When I first started practicing these interactions, I was amazed at how stepping into different roles transformed my confidence. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, not simply reciting lines, but feeling the essence of a confident leader or a warm friend. It's about more than just practice. It's about immersing yourself in the experience. I began with familiar situations, like introducing myself at social gatherings. I would visualize my body language, project my voice, and maintain eye contact, all while embodying a sense of warmth and openness. These small adjustments made a significant difference in how I perceived myself and how others responded to me. Over time, I experimented with various scenarios, pretending to network at a conference, having a difficult conversation with a colleague, or even engaging with a stranger at a coffee shop. Each time, I imagined the outcome I desired and practiced not only what I would say, but how I would express it. Would I lean in slightly to convey interest? Would I smile in a deliberate way to make the other person feel special? It's through these mini dramas that I learned the nuances of charisma because every interaction became a living lesson. Through repetition, the shifts in my behavior became more natural and spontaneous, igniting a newfound energy in my interactions. There was a time when I feared public speaking. I would get nervous even at the thought of addressing a small group. To combat this, I began to create imaginary situations where I was not just speaking but captivating my audience. I pictured my friends and family in the crowd, cheering me on, and imagined their faces lighting up as I told a story or shared an idea. One day, during a local community meeting, I decided to put this practice to the test. I took a deep breath, visualized my role as an engaging speaker, and it was remarkable how my nervousness transformed into excitement. As I spoke, I could see heads nodding, eyes widening, and smiles appearing. I realized then how powerful it is to internalize the characteristics of charisma through imagination. This practice not only improved my speaking skills, but also allowed me to forge deeper connections with others. Another memorable experience involved a casual coffee meetup where I applied my role-playing skills consciously. I treated the encounter as a stage where the objective was not just to chat, but to engage authentically. I leaned into the conversation, asking open-ended questions that invited elaboration. As I listened intently, I recalled my imagined scenario of a friend who genuinely cared, nodding and reflecting on what the other person was saying. The connection we formed that day was palpable, leaving both of us energized. Each of these anecdotes reinforces the value of practicing charisma through imagined interactions. It's not merely about being charming, but about creating genuine, heartfelt relationships. Remember, each time you envision a scenario, you're not just rehearsing, you're paving the way for more meaningful connections in your real life. Consider setting aside some time each week to role-play these scenarios in your mind, or even with supportive friends. By doing so, you'll find that confidence and charisma will naturally flow into your daily interactions. Self-reflection, evaluating your progress. The importance of self-reflection in recognizing growth and areas needing improvement in charisma cannot be overstated. Self-reflection acts as a mirror, allowing us to see our evolution, including how we interact with others and our ability to connect. It's a tool that helps me to become more aware of my strengths and weaknesses when it comes to charisma. When I take the time to look back on my interactions, whether it's a conversation with a colleague or a presentation in front of a group, I can identify moments when I truly shone and others when I fell flat. This realization is crucial. It helps me to understand patterns in my behavior, recognize what resonates with people, and pinpoint areas that could use some work. Recognizing that charisma isn't simply an innate trait, but something that can be nurtured and developed has driven me to embrace this ongoing process of self-reflection. My self-reflection process involves several steps that have been instrumental in evaluating and enhancing my charisma. I often start by journaling after significant conversations or events, capturing my thoughts and feelings about how they went. I ask myself questions like, Did I listen actively? Or did I express my ideas clearly? This practice not only clarifies my thoughts, but also highlights moments where I connected well and areas where I struggled. Additionally, I seek feedback from trusted friends or mentors who can offer an outside perspective on my charisma. They might point out subtle nonverbal cues or suggest changes in my approach that I hadn't considered. Over time, I've learned to embrace both positive and constructive feedback as essential components of my growth. Integrating this feedback into my self reflection helps me create actionable goals for future interactions, making me more intentional about how I present myself and engage with others. One practical tip that I've found to be extremely helpful is to set aside specific time each week for self reflection. Whether it's a quiet moment with a cup of tea or a walk in the park, I dedicate that time to review my interactions and experiences without distractions. This consistent practice has greatly improved my self awareness, setting a foundation for ongoing growth in my charisma. Remember, every interaction is an opportunity to learn and evolve. Embracing self reflection is a significant step toward mastering the art of charismatic communication. Chapter 14: The Charismatic Leader, Leading with Influence. Key traits of charismatic leaders. Charismatic leaders possess distinctive traits that set them apart in various fields, whether in business, politics, or social movements. They exude confidence and passion, often inspiring others with their vision. One of the first traits that come to mind is their ability to communicate effectively. They articulate their ideas with clarity and enthusiasm, making even the most complex concepts feel accessible. This magnetic way of speaking draws people in and makes them feel a part of something bigger. Emotional intelligence is another key trait. Charismatic leaders are exceptionally aware of the feelings of those around them, allowing them to connect on a personal level. This empathy helps them foster trust and loyalty among their followers. Additionally, charismatic leaders are often visionary, seeing possibilities where others see obstacles. Their optimism is infectious, encouraging their teams to embrace challenges with enthusiasm. They also tend to be authentic. Their values resonate with their followers, which builds a strong sense of community and shared purpose. A sense of humor often accompanies these traits, lightening the atmosphere and breaking down barriers, making it easier to engage with others. Reflecting on my own experiences, I recall a few remarkable leaders who embodied these charismatic traits. In college, I was fortunate enough to take a leadership course led by a professor whose charisma was palpable. Her lectures were always packed, not just because of the content, but because she had an uncanny ability to make everyone feel valued and heard. She would begin each class with a personal story, which not only humanized her, but sparked discussions that drew us all in. Her passion for her subject was evident, and she encouraged us to express our viewpoints, no matter how unconventional. I also had the chance to work with a nonprofit organization whose director exhibited exceptional charisma. He had a way of communicating the mission of the organization that made everyone want to contribute. His emotional intelligence shone through when he listened to volunteers' concerns and celebrated even the smallest achievements. His vision for the future kept the momentum going, and collectively, we felt we were part of something significant. These experiences taught me that the key traits of charismatic leaders are not just inherent qualities, but skills that can be cultivated. If you want to develop these traits in yourself, start by practicing active listening. Engage in conversations with genuine curiosity and make others feel valued. Work on your communication skills by sharing your ideas with clarity and enthusiasm, and don't shy away from being authentic. Above all, maintain a sense of optimism and a vision that others can rally behind. Embodying these traits will not only make you a charismatic leader, but will also inspire those around you to reach their full potential. Creating a vision that inspires others. A powerful vision in leadership serves as a guiding star, illuminating the path forward with clarity and purpose. When leaders articulate a vision that resonates, it fosters a sense of belonging and shared purpose among their team members. This collective understanding transforms individual efforts into unified action, creating momentum that propels organizations toward their goals. I've often found that the most effective leaders possess not only a clear vision, but also a certain charisma that makes their message compelling. It's as if their passion and confidence become contagious, inspiring those around them to believe in the possibility of achieving the shared vision. Charismatic leaders have the unique ability to paint a vivid picture of the future, drawing people in with their enthusiasm and conviction. In my own experiences, witnessing leaders who could effectively communicate their vision made a significant impact on my understanding of teamwork and collaboration. It was clear that these leaders didn't just share goals, they ignited aspirations, encouraging others to dream bigger and work harder. One pivotal moment in my journey occurred during a company retreat where I had the chance to engage with a truly visionary leader. Over the course of the weekend, she painted an inspiring vision for our project that not only energized our team, but also fostered deep connections among us. I remember sitting in the conference room as she shared her vision, her eyes sparkling with excitement. She described a future where our project not only made a difference in our industry, but also positively impacted our community. As she spoke, her passion was palpable. It was impossible not to feel inspired. This experience taught me that charisma isn't just about being outgoing. It's about genuinely believing in what you're saying and connecting with others on an emotional level. Another experience that shaped my understanding of visionary leadership came from a mentor who turned a struggling team around with sheer charisma. He had a knack for storytelling and often recounted the hurdles we faced in a way that made them feel surmountable. I recall one meeting when he shared a story of a past challenge that seemed insurmountable at the time, yet he framed it as a stepping stone to success. His perspective shifted our mindset completely, transforming apprehension into motivation. That moment crystallized for me how important it is to connect a vision with relatable experiences, helping others see not just the destination, but also the journey ahead. By understanding that a leader's vision can inspire collective action, I discovered that effective leadership balances clarity of purpose with the ability to engage and energize a team. Embodying a strong vision while embracing the power of charisma can be a game changer for any leader. A practical tip I've learned is to embrace authenticity in sharing your vision. People resonate with real stories and genuine enthusiasm, which cultivates trust and inspires action in ways that mere words often cannot. Leading through empathy and understanding. Empathy and understanding play a crucial role in enhancing the effectiveness of charismatic leadership. As I navigated my career, I found that the leaders who inspired me were often those who took the time to truly understand the feelings and perspectives of others. Charismatic leadership is traditionally associated with confidence and vision, but these traits can become amplified when they are rooted in an authentic connection with people. One memorable experience was during a team project where tensions ran high. Our manager recognized this strain, and instead of merely pushing us to meet deadlines, he gathered us for an open discussion. By sharing his own challenges and encouraging us to voice ours, he fostered an environment where we felt heard and valued. This approach transformed our group dynamics, allowing us to collaborate more effectively, ultimately leading to a successful project outcome. Empathy, in this case, was not just a soft skill. It became a catalyst for our success. My journey in understanding the power of empathetic leadership was further illuminated during a challenging period in my life when my father fell ill. At that time, I was part of a team working on a critical presentation. Several colleagues, aware of my situation, stepped in to support me. One team member, sensing my overwhelm, offered to take on a significant portion of the workload while checking in with me regularly. His understanding made a world of difference. This simple act of kindness not only lightened my load, but also strengthened my belief in the importance of leading with empathy. It showed me that when individuals in leadership positions understand their team's struggles and offer support, they foster loyalty and commitment that transcends the workplace. Empathetic leadership creates a culture where people are not just seen as cogs in a machine, but as human beings with unique experiences. To cultivate this in your own leadership style, consider a practical approach. Practice active listening. When someone speaks to you, give them your full attention, not just out of politeness, but with genuine interest in their words. Acknowledge their feelings and reflect back what you hear. By doing so, not only do you validate their emotions, but you also pave the way for deeper connections that can enhance teamwork and performance. Remember, in a world where many feel unheard, a little empathy can lead to remarkable transformations, both personally and professionally. Chapter 15. Sustainability of Charisma, Keeping Your Spark Alive. Avoiding burnout, maintaining your energy. Preventing burnout is crucial, especially when striving to maintain the energy necessary for charisma. I've found that establishing healthy boundaries is one of the most effective strategies. This means learning to say no when my plate is too full and recognizing that I can't be everything for everyone. Mindfulness practices have also played a vital role in sustaining my energy levels. Simple exercises like deep breathing or short meditative breaks throughout my day help me to refocus and recharge. Staying physically active is another key element. I aim for regular exercise because it boosts my mood and energy levels. Engaging in activities I love, whether it's reading a good book or enjoying time outdoors, helps keep my spirit high. These small yet meaningful strategies protect my energy and allow me to remain vibrant and engaged. Reflecting on my journey, I've faced my share of challenges with burnout. There was a period in my life where I felt like I was running on fumes. I was juggling a demanding job while trying to nurture relationships and pursue hobbies. It became overwhelming. I remember one day collapsing onto my couch after work, feeling utterly drained and disconnected. That was my wake-up call. I realized I needed to make changes to prioritize my well-being. I reached out to a mentor who reminded me that it's okay to unplug and take time for myself. I started dedicating my weekends to self-care rituals, like hiking, cooking my favorite meals, or simply doing nothing. Each experience taught me that recharging isn't a luxury, it's a necessary investment in myself. It's easy to overlook self-care amidst a busy schedule, yet it's essential for preventing burnout. I've discovered that implementing short moments of joy throughout my day can directly impact my energy levels. Whether it's savoring my morning coffee, taking a stroll during lunch, or engaging in a quick chat with a friend, these moments make a significant difference. It's about weaving self-care into the fabric of my daily routine rather than reserving it for the occasional day off. As you navigate your path, remember to listen to your body and mental state. Pay attention to what gives you energy and what drains it. You'll find that making intentional choices about how you spend your time will not only help you avoid burnout, but also empower you to live with more enthusiasm and charisma. The importance of reflection and adaptation. Reflection plays a crucial role in adapting and enhancing your charismatic approach over time. It allows you to step back and examine your interactions, thoughts, and behaviors. By taking that moment to analyze what went well and what didn't, you can identify patterns and shifts in how people respond to you. This process is not merely about critiquing yourself. It's an opportunity to celebrate your successes and understand the nuances of your influence as well. For instance, I've found that moments of reflection, particularly after significant engagements, have revealed insights that I'd otherwise overlook in the busyness of life. By recognizing the reactions of my audience, I could tweak my delivery or content for future scenarios, ensuring that I resonate more deeply with those around me. Regular reflection has been a game changer for me, transforming the way I connect with others. Initially, I would often go through important discussions or presentations without taking the time to process them afterward. However, once I started scheduling a few minutes to reflect on each interaction, everything shifted. I discovered that by journaling my experiences, I was able to see trends emerge in my charisma. I could pinpoint what kinds of stories or approaches consistently drew people in and when my energy seemed to wane. For example, I learned that my authenticity had a direct correlation with the level of engagement from my audience. These insights empowered me to iterate my style, making adjustments that felt natural yet purposeful. Embarking on a journey of reflection doesn't have to be complicated. One effective practice is to set aside a few minutes at the end of each day to consider your interactions. Ask yourself what worked and what could have been improved. This simple act can cultivate a deeper awareness of your personal influence and enable you to make small, incremental changes that accumulate over time to enhance your charismatic presence. Often, it's these reflections that lead to the most significant leaps in our ability to connect and inspire others. Continuous learning for charismatic growth. Continuous learning is essential for evolving and sustaining charisma. Charisma is not just an innate quality, it's a dynamic trait that can be cultivated over time. The world around us is always changing, and those who keep learning are better equipped to adapt to new challenges and connect with others more meaningfully. I've found that expanding my knowledge not only enhances my confidence but also offers new insights into human behavior. This is crucial because charisma often hinges on our ability to relate to others and engage on a deeper level. When I immerse myself in new experiences, whether through reading, taking classes, or even engaging in conversations with diverse groups, I notice an uptick in my charisma. It's as if the new information acts as fuel, sparking better communication and richer interactions. Reflecting on my own journey, I recall the time I decided to learn public speaking. Initially, the thought of standing in front of an audience filled me with dread. However, as I navigated through classes and workshops, I started to not only gain skills, but also to understand the artistry behind engaging an audience. Each practice session was a lesson in body language, tone modulation, and storytelling, all of which are powerful tools in the Charismatic Toolkit. I vividly remember a time during a presentation when I shared a personal story that resonated deeply with the audience. Their reactions, not just applause, but genuine connection, reminded me that the charisma I sought was already burgeoning within, waiting to be uncovered through learning. The act of acquiring new skills is transformative, as it fosters growth and opens up avenues for connection. Each skill learned has the potential to enhance how we present ourselves to the world, making us more relatable and captivating. Whether it's acquiring a new language, mastering a musical instrument, or even learning to cook a new cuisine, these experiences enrich our lives and expand our stories. For anyone looking to bolster their charismatic presence, pursuing continuous learning can serve as a powerful catalyst. Embrace every opportunity to learn, as it not only enhances your charisma, but also helps foster relationships that could last a lifetime. Remember, the journey of learning is continuous, and each step taken can illuminate pathways of connection and influence. Thank you for joining us on this transformative journey through magnetic presence, unlocking the secrets to unstoppable charisma, brought to you by Mindful Literary. Charisma isn't just a gift for a select few. It's a skill that can be cultivated, honed, and applied in every aspect of your life. Whether it's in personal relationships, professional environments, or everyday interactions, the magnetic energy you've begun to develop will help you create deeper connections, inspire trust, and lead with influence. Remember, the true essence of charisma lies not in perfection, but in authenticity. By embracing who you truly are and aligning your presence with your values, you'll naturally attract people and opportunities. Continue practicing the techniques shared in this audiobook and know that your journey doesn't end here. It's just the beginning of an ongoing evolution. Stay curious, stay engaged, and keep shining your magnetic light. The world is waiting for your unique presence.